Okay, so let's start from the very beginning. What is a good experience without access to the open internet? A lot of what we do today is dependent on internet access. And for most cases, we actually take it for granted. The diversity of the services that we have alongside platforms and tools, all accessible with just one click. But in China, you get to find that the open internet is actually not as open as it sounds. So the number one thing that you need to do before stepping foot in China is getting access to an active VPN. And you don't just want to find any random VPN that you can download on the morning of your flight. Yes, I know that China has granted longer visa stays to very many countries recently, but the firewall tightens unpredictably, and weak VPNs tend to lose access, sometimes temporarily or sometimes even permanently. So you don't want to be landing in a Chinese airport only to realize your VPN is not working, right? I've seen it happen too many times. Boy, you don't want to be that guy. So, the VPNs I've consistently seen working in China are SuperVPN, Surfshark VPN, Private VPN, and some others that could work, but they're not as good as the three I've recommended. I tend to use the first one on this lineup, SuperVPN, because I realized that when I was uploading videos to TikTok, it gives me the fastest upload speed, and even with other servers all over the internet, SuperVPN will upload anything without taking too much time. So for a content creator like me, SuperVPN was a good option. However, I should emphasize that even the other two VPNs that I've mentioned in this video will do just fine. Now, if you forgot to download one before landing in China, don't worry, there is still a solution. Though I do wonder how you would be watching this video in China. Unless you watched this video earlier and accessed the document I'm saying through the email, and then you added me on WeChat, and then I send you these contacts that give you VPN even while in mainland China. So I can provide contacts that I feel are more trustable and reliable when it comes to providing active VPN service while in mainland China. And they will charge a very reasonable price. Many people use this to first get a temporary VPN and then use that to download whichever VPN they have in mind. Though I actually don't have any trouble using the one they provide, it's still strong enough. Except that when it comes to uploading huge videos, it will tend to be a little bit slow. Otherwise, if you're just a normal user using it for messages or just reaching out to your family, I think it will be good enough for you. But before you even reach out to these people, there is something even more urgent to be addressed. If you do not have WeChat and Alipay downloaded, and you plan to visit China at any point, stop watching the video right now, go to Play Store, download them, and then come back and I walk you through step by step on how to link up your bank card to the app. Because almost everything, and I mean everything, runs through mobile payment. Hotel check-ins, power banks, cabs, restaurants, convenience stores, and some places just straight up don't accept cash. You see, cash in China is technically accepted, but practically unnecessary. You won't even see a lot of people go to the ATM to do transactions to begin with. So let me walk you through how to link your international bank card to either WeChat or Alipay. Okay, tap on the WeChat that you just downloaded, go down here to the bottom right and press Me, and then Pay and Services. When you click in, it will lead you to this page where you press Wallet and click Bank Cards, and then you add your details and you enter a 6-digit password that you can remember. For Alipay users, go to the downloaded app. To this page, go to the bottom right, Me, Bank Cards, and then add your bank details in this section. Or alternatively, you could do it like Bob here. You know, Bob likes the easy way. Go to Pay, Balance, and then add a bank card. Same process. Add your bank details and then a password. Okay, all done. Now, when you link your foreign cards, A small service fee is deducted per transaction. It's not huge, but you want to keep that at the back of your mind as you do your spending. You don't want to exceed your budget unknowingly, right? Another important warning is that you do not need to transfer money from your bank into the local wallet inside these apps. Yes, you could do a top-up, but reversing it is rather difficult, and in some cases, you cannot get the money off the wallet back to your bank card. So I say stick to paying directly through your bank card that is linked to the app. I've seen foreigners finish their trip with money stuck inside local wallet balances, and then getting it back becomes a frustrating process. And this, my friend, brings us to the next step inevitably. If you're planning to work, study, or stay in China for a long time, then linking a Chinese bank account dramatically improves your experience. And I'm not just speaking about WeChat or Alipay. Most local apps function way better when you link a domestic bank account inside of them. And for most foreigners, 中国工商银行 ICBC works just fine. However, I have also had Cuban international student friends in the past who have faced difficulty opening an account in this bank. So for this, I recommend that you use 华夏银行. It has a flexible way of accommodating nationalities that other banks won't accept. This is something you'll find in greater detail in the document that I'll send over to your email. Now, before we move into the transportation and daily life, there is another major decision foreigners often make when they arrive. Many people upon arriving in China realize that tech is a lot cheaper in China. Big names in the industry like Apple, Samsung, Huawei, Xiaomi all sell products way cheaper in China compared to the international market. And it's not something strange because we all know that China manufactures a large percentage of global tech hardware. So yes, prices are often lower when it comes to buying tech in China. But here's where people make a mistake. If you buy a local Chinese version of a device, it may still have software restrictions or even lack Google services. Therefore, if you want freedom, buy the international version. And if you choose the local version of a device to begin with, specifically ask whether Google services are available on the device and whether or not the region can be changed. Be sure to also ask them if you can take it outside China. But if at the time of watching this video you've already bought it and it's too late, don't panic. Download Taobao and follow the steps that I share in the document that I'll be sending over to your email. I provide step-by-step on how to find technicians who can remotely convert devices to international firmware. You'll need a PC and a small fee, so you don't even need to meet them physically. Now that's what I call real problem solving. Now, if you have an eSIM with strong roaming and reasonable pricing, good for you. If not, getting a Chinese SIM at the airport can be a very useful thing. 中国移动 and 中国联通 are two very reliable services that you could use. Prices are both affordable and the network is strong all over China. Staff members will also usually help you activate it at the airport, so by the time you leave, it's already working. For students, work visa holders, or anyone staying for more than a few weeks in China, this is very, very essential. In fact, some apps won't even let you sign in without a Chinese SIM. Now that you're connected and able to pay, how do you move? So listen up. China's public transportation system is extremely advanced. High investment has been made in the technological integration as well as making everything efficient for everyone. But for very many foreigners, especially upon arrival in China, calling a cab is more practical. It avoids language awkwardness and it avoids crowded metro stairs. And yes, in big cities like Beijing, sometimes you feel like a zoo exhibit. The best taxi apps that I recommend are Didi, Cao Cao, Baidu Ditu, and Amap. Though the one at the top of the list is the most reliable and the most recommended in this category. Now, I cannot discuss the subject of taxis in China and I don't mention the yellow cab Saga. A lot of times that you take a yellow cab, which are usually available in plenty around airport or train stations, some drivers tend to negotiate prices directly instead of using the meter in the car. Others will opt to take longer routes than they should. So if you do take one, insist that they use the meter to charge the price and check the estimated travel time beforehand so you know if there is any foul play going on. All in all, as a person that has lived in China for a long period of time, I would recommend that you call cabs through apps. It's a much reliable option, and then you have the ability to share your trip live with friends. In case of any foul play from the side of the driver, you could even ask for refunds within the app, and they are processed within less than 4 hours. So at least drivers are always being monitored. That changes their behavior a lot. In a lot of times that I even take cabs, I hear the navigation voice saying that the voice of everyone in the car is being recorded. Though I'm not sure about how I should feel about that part. Maybe you can tell me in the comments if you like this option. If you're working, studying, or staying long-term in China, you will likely end up renting. There are 3 main ways that you can get a rental in China. Number 1 is through an agent who usually charges a 1-month renter's commission. Number 2, you could find a rental through an app. Fees are usually divided into smaller recurring additions that are directly calculated into the rent price. So by the time you pay your rent, you're actually already paying those small commissions. On the site, of course, they'll announce it as commission free, but in actual sense, the commission is already calculated alongside the rent. Number 3 could be through rental companies. You could find these on WeChat or through their physical offices. Whichever the option you choose, be sure to tell them that you're a foreigner that wants to lease the apartment. Otherwise, you could end up having a whole conversation about the apartment only to find out it cannot be rented by a foreigner. Rent is usually monthly or quarterly, and a 1-month deposit is standard. This can be refunded if the contract terms are respected all throughout the period of renting. Other 2 useful tips would be avoid city center unless extremely necessary, especially for students. They usually tend to charge higher prices, and the spaces are often smaller compared to other areas. Alongside that, you may find that the conditions are much poorer. Renting in the outskirts, however, is a much better option and it gives you a larger space for your value. Number 2, never pay before physically visiting the apartment. In Chinese, we call this Kanfang, and it usually means viewing the apartment in person. The photos and videos that they send to you before you visit the apartment are usually taken while the apartment is at the best of its condition. So reality might be way far from what you see in those videos, as you can see in this one experience when I went to Kanfang. If you're planning on staying short-term, however, then stick to booking 4-star or 5-star hotels. Some 3-star hotels may feel uncomfortable sanitation-wise, and in some cities like Beijing, many under 4-star hotels are not even allowed to host foreigners to begin with. Believe me, 4 and 5-star hotels are worth the price. The most reliable booking app that I've been using all throughout this time is Trip.com. I am not affiliated with them in any kind of way, though I really wish I was. But I recommend their service because 1, the app doesn't require you to use VPN in mainland China. And 2nd, they really do offer good offers in there. A lot of times I even find trips of groups that are traveling to different areas of China. Maybe if you're interested, you could join a certain group and you go together at a smaller price than you would pay if you went alone. Another important thing to note is that they have a very strong customer service and they really care about this part a lot. I once booked a hotel near a train station and it turned out to be directly under it. There was constant train noise and I just couldn't bear it, guys. So even after my refund window had passed, I called the customer service and they negotiated directly with the reception. Actually, that day they made a direct call on my behalf to the reception, and I still got my refund processed. Another fun fact in China is that a lot of Chinese people will choose to order food online rather than going physically to restaurants or any food eateries. A reason for that would be calling food is fast and much more cheaper. So, the two strongest platforms used in China are Meituan and Ele.me. Here's how to use them and what to look out for in the app. So this is the front page of the app Meituan. I tap here at Tuan Go. It's basically a group of people buying a similar product, so the prices are discounted for a single unit. For example, you could see here manicure is originally 178 and now selling for 76. Or when I scroll, I have more offers. We have Huoguo here, originally selling at 304 RMB, now for 140. And when you tap inside, you could see that the prices are all discounted and you could get the coupon. The only thing is you have to go to the shop to be able to change your coupon and enjoy the service. More here, head massage for 26, originally selling for 169, or this amazing body massage in a spa. So that's basically it. The second service is Pinhao Fan. It's a group of people still ordering the same thing. The difference it has with Tuan Go is when you order from this side, they deliver it to your address. So it's basically Waimai, but at a cheaper price than you would pay if you bought it alone. The offers depend on your location. Now let's look at Ele.me. Ele.me is also an interesting app for Waimai. This is where I conduct the search. I type in the kind of food I want to eat and then I immediately check out, and that's where I get the discount coupons. Okay, so now that you know how to order food in China, let's look at an app called XiaoHongShu. And the reason I'm recommending Red Note in this video is because it almost feels like it's an equivalent of Instagram and TikTok in the sense that you can watch reels, or it could also be well referred to as an alternative to Pinterest because there is a lot of resourceful information and blogs found on the app. And you could also think of it like an alternative to Facebook because there is a lot of people posting random educative stuff or fun facts on the site. But what I found most useful in this app is that when you grant it access to your live location, you could already see fun places nearby, and then you could also check out their prices as well as what you need to enter. This can be very handy, especially if you're the kind of person that hates being disappointed. You will see real images taken by people that went to the place as well as their rating of the places. And sometimes they even provide travel routes. Other useful apps could include Baidu, which works as the equivalent to Google, WeChat, which is the app we use for communicating in China, Baidu Maps, which you use for navigating or getting transport routes to different places of interest, as well as one for real-time translation. If you don't have access to Google Translation, just use Xinfei Tingdian. It can be a very good alternative to Google Translate. And then for those of you interested in shopping packages online, Pinduoduo is good, as well as Taobao. And then the one for electronics is Dingdong. And for those of you interested in buying brand products, Weipinhui is also a very good online shopping platform. If you outside China cannot access the Chinese apps I'm mentioning in this video, you could download this APK in Google, and then after installing the app, use it to download the Chinese apps of your interest. However, to this very date, I haven't gotten any alternative for my Apple friend users. So if you have a walk around that part, you could share in the comments or in our WhatsApp group. So we cannot talk about living in China and leave out the topic of visa. Never overstay your visa in China, let alone any country to begin with. The overstay fine is 500 RMB per day, and long overstays can even lead to detention. If you want to be on the safer side of knowing what visa to apply for or how to extend your visa, search for and then go to their offices and ask in detail about any sort of visa that you want to apply for, as well as the terms related to applying for it. And if you ever land into any problems with long visa stays or you want to clear your name from the blacklist, I have contacts that I'll avail in the document that I'll be sending over to your email. For people planning to work in China, work visas are mandatory. If you ever decide to work either with a friend or any institute with any other sort of visa, better read the warning as well as the side notes that I provided for visas in the document that I'll be providing to you, and be familiar with it. And speaking of work, the most common form of work done by foreigners living in China is teaching English. The market is huge and they pay huge amounts of money for you to teach their kids. Sometimes parents may even opt to have their kids trained extra hours after school. If that's something you're interested in, then you should know that speaking English doesn't exactly guarantee you can teach it. And teaching students requires psychological preparation, as well as access to different material that teachers need to teach the language. So, if that's something you're interested in doing as work, then be sure to use the World TEFL link that I'm providing in the description. It will give you access to their courses, and then you'll be able to have a certificate that you can use in China. They'll even grant you access to other countries besides China where you can teach English as a side job. So we've reached this part of the video. I want to share with you some survival tips that I feel could be very useful. If you're to ever book a hotel, stick to booking 4 or 5-star hotels, because 3-star hotels might have sanitary issues. If you're to drink water in China, tap water is never safe. Stick to drinking bottled water. Avoid public fights, and if you ever get into one for any reason, contact your embassy immediately. If you're outside and your phone runs out of battery, you don't have a way of scanning a power bank, and you don't have a way of calling a cab that can take you back to your residence, then find the nearest metro station or police station. Ask them to charge the phone, unless you're using this kind of charger, which I don't think they'll have. When you walk up to a metro station, walk towards the office that sells tickets. Ask them to help charge your phone. Tip number next, avoid tipping Chinese people publicly. It's really rude in Chinese culture to receive tips to begin with, but if you ever feel the need to do it, be discreet about it. If you're to travel to Chinese tourist area places, do that in spring and summer. And avoid doing any sort of traveling during public holidays in China, especially the national holidays in the country. So you might want to check a Chinese calendar to see which days are available and which ones are holidays. And as I sum up this video, I'm also providing you with some emergency numbers that you could contact in case of anything that happens during your stay in China, though I really hope you don't need to use any of them. Okay, so that has been it, guys, and this is the wrap up for the video. I really hope that the information I shared in this video was very resourceful, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye bye.